So here is my latest version of the Patchwork spreadsheet. This was done in Excel 2003. So depending on what version you use, it might look a little different with the colors and the formatting. I tried to pretty things up a little bit, including the time track. The dark lines represent the income and the black squares are the leather pieces. I also added in a pretty picture. This shows you the last piece that was played. The O's represent the buttons which generate income from your pieces. There's not an official serial number for these pieces, so I just put them in and sorted them first by income and then cost and then time. Column J shows the legal plays that you can make. If you can't play a piece because you don't have enough buttons, or if you've already played it, the number will be whited out. However, Excel's not going to stop you from cheating, so it's just more of a helpful guide to identify what pieces are still available. This assumes that you will eventually get all of the pieces of leather. If you ever land on a spot immediately before one of the leather pieces, you cannot get it. So in this example, I landed right before this piece, which means my opponent will get it, which drops me down to 4 is the maximum amount of leather that I can get in this game. In order to qualify for the 7x7 bonus, you need to have at least 49 blocks worth of quilt done. So in this example, I only have 45 blocks done, but once I get above 49, I qualify for the 7x7 bonus. This doesn't calculate whether or not those pieces actually fit in a perfect square. It's just whether or not you could possibly qualify for that. Current score is what your score is right now if the game ended. However, you can't just end the game. If you did nothing the rest of the game but pass, you are still going to get buttons based on the spaces that you skip and the number of times that you get income. So end score would show what your score would be if you did nothing but pass the rest of the game. I've got a couple special pieces that were done just to help Excel understand what's going on. If you ever want to skip or pass one space at a time, that's what 35 is for, and 34 allows you to skip 2 spaces at a time. 36 you don't really need to use. It's just sometimes Excel freaks out if you delete numbers. So 36 is just a null because when you delete things go wonky. So just fill it from the top down. 37 is if you don't want a piece of leather. So in this example, I only have 5 spaces remaining, but if I wanted to place number 27, I need 1 more space available. So I can just say that my opponent got 1 of the pieces of leather, so that drops me down. I now have 1 more space available and I can put in 27. The time column here, if it's green, that means you can play that piece without triggering an income. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. So in this example, I've got 2 spaces left before income hits, so I can play number 10, and income doesn't hit. So in theory, I could place another piece and get the income for both of those pieces. So sometimes that's helpful just in messing around with the numbers. The value is how many points you will get for placing that piece. The higher numbers are generally better, but not always, because long-term goals, you might get a lot of points but spend all your buttons, so then you have to pass on following turns. So it's just kind of a helpful guide to help you get a high score. And speaking of, this is my current high score is 82.